event, this is our first open showcase event, which means that we have opened it up to the general public, to the community. We had people apply to pitch today. We are very excited to be doing this event with you all, and incredibly happy to see over 100 participants right now. So very happy to have you all here. My name is Philip DeVecchio. I am the VP of Operations at Multiple, and I will be your host today. So many of you are used to being at virtual events. And so I'm sure that we all have a little bit of virtual event fatigue. It's not the most fun to just be me up here staring at a screen. So what I would ask from all of you is to utilize Remo to the best of your ability. Feel free to be chatting in the general chat, sending me words of affirmation and encouragement as I'm up here on stage. And you have the opportunity to send little applause emojis. So there's a bottom right-hand corner for those of you who are on desktop. You can press the applause emoji. I see some of those flying up right now. Thank you. You can give me the thumbs up one. You can even use the little monocle. I'm not really sure what that emoji means, but I think it means that you are an intelligent and suave, interesting person. So I'm going to invite Dan up here on stage to join in to talk a little bit about Multiple, and then we'll get things kicked off. Let's see, finding Dan, inviting him to stage. As I do that, I just wanted to give you a few tips on using Remo. So Remo is a virtual event platform. It is best used on browser with a Chrome or Safari browser. If you're not on one of those and you're having some issues, I would recommend trying to switch over to that. If you have no ability to do that, that's okay. We also have a YouTube live link that you can use. So if you still can't get on, you can join the YouTube live link. That's going to be shared in the chat. But we also have a support team with us, not just members of the Multiple team, but we also have GSD who will be introducing themselves in the chat. If you have any issues, you can reach directly out to the GSD team to get support and try to figure out things. We're going to keep things flowing. Also, this is being recorded. So at the end of the day, if all else fails, we'll be sending you that recording for you to take a look afterwards. Very, very excited to have you all here. We've got an incredible group of participants, an amazing group of founders who are going to be pitching, a esteemed panel, and a litany of judges. So we'll be talking more about that in a second. I'm just going to pull up my screen for the presentation, and we're going to dive right in.
Hey, everybody. Really want to welcome you here for our second event where we're supporting game-changing startups at the beginning of their journey. And I really appreciate the energy of this group, the generosity of spirit that everybody has, and your commitment to make a difference for our community. So, we've got great companies, at least at the beginning of their journey, and they really need support. They're not going to reach their potential without this community backing them in all the different ways that you can imagine. They need backing, whether it's funding, whether it's mentoring, and we really need more mentors. We'll be harping on that today. Our mission here at Multiple is to multiply the rate of startup formation by 10x. And, we want to basically drive multiple cohorts of early stage companies. And we want to yield many shots on goal, multiple shots on goal. And we want to enable these force multipliers to really scale. All of you are here because you have a reason, a personal reason, a business reason, and a emotional reason to participate in this. We have an amazing turnout. Our first turnout was over 100. We had over 200 people sign up. We'll see how many people ultimately come today, but we have incredible support of our community, and it's really growing. So think of today as not just as a showcase, but as more of a barn raiser. So think about the idea that we're here to support these organizations. There's startups forming all over the world. We had, as I think Phil mentioned, we had 52 people sign up, or companies sign up to pitch. We only had 10 slots. We need to solve for that. Phil's going to talk more about how we're going to do that, but it's critical that we can that we're not just waiting around and only having a limited number of startups have exposure to funders and mentors and the support that they need. The last 8 startups that pitched here, 6 got funding, and 1, Social Cipher, got significant non-dilutive funding from the Lego Foundation. So look, you're going to hear from some really interesting, diverse startups. We have parent training, we have diagnostics, we have video streaming for autistic individuals, we have a friendship network, and we have adaptive fitness. So, you know, when I cycle back to the early days of my career in this space, it was a desert. We have really a flourishing global community, but we don't all know each other. We don't all know the great work that's going on. So today you're going to see a little glimpse of the really amazing work that people are doing, their commitment, their intensity, and their energy. So Phil will take us all through this event, and I really appreciate everybody coming, and so excited to have you here.
Thanks again. Let's give Dan a round of applause for that introduction, using the emojis, typing your love in the chat. Really, truly, I mean, if you heard that, that was a plea of a founder, an entrepreneur, a father, who's dedicated to his life to this space. So thanks again. And I get to be the one to ask you all to help us help multiples. So I'll give you a few examples of how you can do that. There are 5 ways that you can support autism innovation through the work that we're doing today. Many of you in this room are already signed up as mentors, but we have our second accelerator running at the end of this year. It'll be launching the first week of October, and we need more mentors. We'd love for you to sign up as a mentor. You can also volunteer with Multiple in many capacities. There's opportunities to be advisors, board members, speakers. There's really, truly a place for everyone and every asset at the table here. The other thing is to just be a good funder of innovative solutions. There are many investors in this room today, and many of you are actively investing in technology in this space, or are interested. And we just commend you and ask you to keep doing it. Keep flooding this market with money so that we can continue to change the lives of these people. Also innovate. Many of you are founders here. We're talking, a lot of you are applying for the accelerator. Some of you we've already spoken to, and we thank you for working hard to innovate in this space. And then finally, we'd love for you to donate to fuel our mission. We are a nonprofit. All of our services are free today, and the accelerator will be free for the startups. And it takes a lot of work. We're a small team with a small budget, and we're making it work. And we would love your support so we can continue to help this community out. And so those are the 5 ways. There's many more, and there'll be more to come. Kelly's contact information is there. She's hanging out in the wings, chatting with people, our incredible head of strategic initiatives. And of course, we're open door policy, so you can access, email us, reach out to us on our website. There's multiple ways to get in touch with us, no pun intended. All right, so without further ado, we should dive right into these pitches. I hope you all are excited. Let's do a round of applause for these founders who are going to be coming up on stage very soon. I'm going to keep asking you all, because I love seeing the little hands. It's my affirmation as I go through these the list of things that we're going to be doing today. And so I'm going to be calling up those panelists. So if the GSD team can bring up, we have an incredible panelist group today, folks. So I hope you're excited. We have today Rob Sarazin, Investment Officer of Autism Impact Fund. Give him a round of applause as he gets invited on stage. We also have Christopher Banks, President and CEO of Autism Society of America. Incredible, awesome 2 gentlemen. And then we also have Cassidy Leventhal, Vice President of Achieve Partners. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for being here, Robert. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Since you're the first person to make it onto stage, I'm going to have you do the first quick introduction of yourself, and then we'll have Christopher go, and then Cassidy.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And Phil, really thank you for doing this. And Dan, also to the team, Eric, also, Eric Olson. You know, this is a long time in making, and I really just great to see, you know, even the AIF and Dan's projects have been kind of going side by side. And, you know, Dan's been such a great leader in the community, and also a great leader when it comes to the introduction of the AIF. So thank you, Dan, for that. Yeah, so for those of you who we haven't met, I think a lot of you are probably aware of the Autism Impact Fund, but you know, so I'm Rob Sarazin, the Chief Investment Officer for the Autism Impact Fund. So the AIF is a traditional venture capital fund, but really has a dual mandate, and that's what really makes this quite unique. Obviously, we're focused on generating returns for our investors, but we're also looking at innovation that impacts the autism community. And really, we're focused on alleviating the unmet needs. So that dual mandate really puts us in a different position. I think our relationship with the community, our understanding, we've took a tremendous amount of time understanding all of the unmet needs, really understanding the pain points. And our target market for us is really trying to alleviate that. So when we think about our mission, it's really about revolutionizing the status quo of diagnosing, treating, and living with autism. And we do that by sort of following that journey. So if you think about all of the different investments, we've made 10 investments so far in the last 12 months. And all of them are looking at alleviating various pain points. And whether that's the diagnostic process, whether that's actually dealing with comorbidities through biotech investments, whether that's point of care investments and looking at how we can actually look at the whole value creation and not just the specific type of treatment. So thinking about the individual and the whole child and thinking about all the therapies that are kind of connected to that. And then ultimately into young adulthood and in adulthood, we have a great business called Autocon that is one of the largest employers of autistic individuals. And we're looking to create not just the kind of the treatment and the process and improving kind of the process through the beginning, but also improving independence, quality of life in general. So our mission stays on point. So I think if any company that is trying to alleviate some of the major pain points, we're absolutely interested in talking to, and we look forward to hearing the presentations.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rob. And Chris, you're up next.
Hey, thank you very much. So excited to be here today with you all. And it's exciting to be with Cassidy and Rob as we do this. And thank you and Dan for inviting the Autism Society of America to be a part of it. For those who don't know, the Autism Society of America is the oldest and largest autism organization in the United States. We were founded in 1965. We have affiliates in 39 states, 72 right now, and growing. What I'm most excited about today is to hear from all of you about the ways that you want to make connections with the Autism Society and the autism community. The logo behind me is the newest of the logos for the Autism Society. We purposely, intentionally moved away from the puzzle piece. And we did that because we see the autism community having all kinds of components. And the idea behind that is let's weave together and make ourselves stronger. And it's the impact from the Autism Impact Fund and the collaboration with them, make that with the Autism Society and to do it with all of these great innovators and investors. If we're going to make a difference in the autism community, we want to be a part of that. We want to make connections with you. What I'm excited to hear is the programs and supports that you're suggesting, especially around the technology and innovation. It is something that we're very interested in trying to help you put in the hands of autistic individuals and the families and communities. So I see a natural collaboration here between the Autism Impact Fund and everything Multiple is doing and what we're doing here today. So real excited about it. I'm going to put my website on the chat, and in my profile you have my email address, so please use those. Contact me. We want to hear from you. You can find me on LinkedIn and you can email me, and we want to talk to you, and we want to talk to you about how we can help you get presenting here in the hands of individuals in the autism community to better meet their needs. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you to the open collaborative mentality that you all have. I greatly appreciate that. Last but not least, Cassidy from Achieve Partners.
Thank you. Great to meet you all. I am with Achieve Partners. So we are a later stage investor. So you might start with Robert, and then a few years later, you might work your way kind of across the pond and come meet with me. So we are late stage investors in education and work. So we help figure out the future of what education looks like and what work, job placement looks like. On the education side, we may work with kind of autistic families and communities sort of on special services side. So we have a lot of companies that are helping provide, specialized education content and services to folks in need. And then on the work side, we actually are doing a lot of work here. So we have an apprenticeship fund focused on creating pathways to great jobs for 100,000 Americans. It's a bold vision, one job at a time. But one of my companies, Row Health, is one of the leading staffing and services firms working with K through 12 districts. So staffing into schools, they're actually placing registered behavioral technicians, therapists, and plenty of others who are working directly with autistic children in our school system. And so they're launching an apprenticeship program to actually help train a lot of these providers in-house. As I'm sure you all know, there's a massive shortage of care available, of services available. And so we're launching an apprenticeship program to make sure that we actually have the people we need to care for the kids in our school districts. So that's what Road Health is up to. I'll put our information, their information in the chat, and the same call goes for us too. Feel free to reach out.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for those introductions. And I think that we are ready to see these pitches. Panelists, are you ready to see these pitches?
We're ready.
Thumbs up, and oh yeah, awesome. And I hope audience, you are ready as well. So without further ado, I'm going to be inviting up our first panel pitch member, Brent Chase, the co-founder and CEO of PalBud. Please give him a warm welcome and a round of applause as he comes up on stage. I'm going to also be letting you know about the format for those of you who don't know. Each founder, as they pitch, they'll have 4 minutes to present their company, followed by 2 minutes of feedback from these panelists. I mentioned briefly that there's also a group of judges in the wings. These judges are going to be filling out feedback for these companies that we'll be providing to them after the event. So not only are they going to get feedback immediate live today that you will see, but they're also going to get a litany of feedback from all of these experts, investors, and judges that we've invited to be here today. So without further ado, welcome Brent, and take it away whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm Brent, the CEO of PalBud. PalBud is here improving how families of autistic children find qualified caregivers, because 6 out of 7 families of autistic children can't find caregivers. An essential part to help their autistic children become autonomous autistic adults. And why is that? Well, there's clearly a labor shortage, but then it takes so much time to find just one caregiver. But once you do, they lack quality of understanding how to be a caregiver. On top of all, care coordination is difficult, which is why we created a caregiver marketplace and workforce development platform called PalBud. PalBud is leveraging a high quality, untapped labor pool in the form of college students. PalBud is creating career pathways for therapy students to gain real world experience, formal training, and acquire externship hours in order to qualify for their therapy licenses. Through university partnerships, PalBud ensures a steady supply of high-quality caregivers. The student caregivers are then ran through PalBud's first-of-its-kind caregiver curriculum in order to standardize care. Through therapy clinics, school systems, and Medicaid partnerships, families are able to unlock PalBud and be matched with their qualified caregivers that meet their needs. Care coordination is then made simple by allowing families, PalBud caregivers, therapists, and any other care team member to communicate in a single point of contact on the PalBud app. We make money by charging families a monthly subscription with plans to accept Medicaid in the future. And through product bundling, customer referrals, city tours and board partnerships, state Medicaid programs, and corporate benefits, we will be able to acquire additional customers and scale PalBud. Because at only $1,000 a year for caregiving, there's an enormous opportunity to upsell and provide further services to capture the total cost of care for the autistic and then general mental health pediatric communities. And compared to our competitors, we eliminate workflow leakages, pipelines, ensure the highest quality of care from our curriculums, reduce the time to find caregivers by way of our AI matching, and have a caregiver marketplace, all built by our world-class team of engineers, entrepreneurs, scientists, and therapists with over 50 years of combined expertise in autism, mental health, digital health, and therapies. And to date, we have made so much progress. We have patents pending and fully secured trademarks, secured $300,000 in our current round, have won SBIR grants, have 6 university partnerships, equaling around 1,500 student caregivers in just the DC region, are finalizing partnerships in the area in Arizona, Florida, and New York, delivered over 2,500 care hours, and have pre-orders worth $300,000. And as we look forward, we're focusing on building relationships with public school systems, local travel boards, and medical associations in order to reach more families. Additionally, we're focusing on product bundling through partnerships, those that focus on delivery of therapy exercises within sessions, early diagnosis to provide more families our services, and transitional age job placements. And as we look forward into 2024 and beyond, we want to take advantage of our high quality caregivers. And once they become licensed therapists, either for us to serve as a recruitment platform for third-party clinics or roll out our own digital therapy clinic. which is why we're here to ask for your help. We are in the midst of a $1.5 million raise, which we have secured nearly a quarter of, to focus on our company infrastructure, research development, and improved marketing efforts, which will positively impact 5,000 additional families, resulting in $4 million in revenue. So if you want to help families and autistic kiddos, we would love to be your pal.
Awesome job. Really, really great start. Thanks so much. Wonderful. So we'll open it up for 2 minutes of feedback or questions from the panel.
Yeah, good. Okay, it's good. Thank you for the presentation. Maybe I'll get started. As you know, just full disclosure, we're a significant investor in Joshin, so we believe in the mission. We really think, what you're doing is exactly the kind of thing that the community is asking for. Maybe a couple questions. I guess first, how do you think about the accreditation process when it comes to your students and the matchup with other families? How are the families going to know about kind of the history and framework of that relationship? And maybe just talk a bit about that part.
Can you repeat that?
So how the accreditation process. So in other words, how are they going to know essentially the background of the individuals and how, what experience do they have? How are you going to sort of match up, families with caregivers, and what's that process going to look like?
Yeah, so when a caregiver comes online, they go through an intake form, sign up, as well as the families. Then in the back end, we have an entire AI built that can appropriately match caregivers with the appropriate experience for the families with the appropriate need. And then we also have several other layers where within the actual platform itself, we can accept the IEPs so that our caregivers can work on the appropriate skills to help them be most successful.
Great.
I had a similar question actually, which is, are you adding any screening for caregivers on top of this? So the basics is background checks, right? And then the more intense is thinking about emotional intelligence. It's a hard job, right? And so screening around, ability to deal with kids in need, just thinking through that.
Yeah, so we do the classic background checks, we do the identity checks. We also have the referrals directly from the university programs, which ensures us the quality of each individual and their experience in the past, but also we have that curriculum that we had mentioned. It's right now around a 7-hour curriculum, and we're launching the follow-up curriculums as well that can ensure the best quality of care for those individuals. But then after each session, families and the caregivers themselves can verify how the session went. So as we move forward, we can continuously be improving that matching process.
Hey, Brett, this is Chris from the Autism Society. Can you tell us a little bit about the collaboration you had with the academic institutions and some of the feedback that some of the professors may have been able to give you that would be something for all of us about what you're doing and how maybe we can reach out to some of our academic institution friends and collaborators?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that they relayed back to us is how families typically only go to an hour therapy each week, and that's not enough for the autistic child to master some of these lower level skills and eventually these higher level ones to really be truly autonomous. So they looked at us as solving the biggest problem, where a lot of the students would just go to clinics and be a technician during that only 1 hour, but in a 160-hour week, there's so much more time to take advantage. So what we were able to do and introduce into the market really has changed the game for what caregivers actually are and make them more technical and actually helping an autistic child beyond just being traditional respite care providers.
Great.
Awesome. Great questions. We're going to move right along. I just invited Stacy up on stage. So thanks again, Brent. Really appreciate it. Round of applause. You can go ahead, turn your mic off and your camera off, Brent, and you'll disappear from stage. Thank you so much. And then we'll have Stacy, you're up next. We have Stacy Ledbetter here, founder and CEO of N-Flight. Go ahead and share your screen, and whenever you're ready, you can go right ahead.
All right, can you hear me and see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. All right, here we go. I'm Stacy Ledbetter, founder of N-Flight and mother of Zoe, an autistic young adult. As I started to think about what life would look like for Zoe as she transitions to adulthood, I knew that she had the potential for living independently, but she would need my help. I call it supported independence. Zoe is many things, including autistic. She wants to live an independent life, but feels frustrated knowing that she's dependent on my help. N-Flight has been created to help achieve the dream of independence together. The autism tsunami isn't coming, it's here. 80% of all autistics are adults, and that number is growing as up to 100,000 autistic students leave high school each year in the US. The estimated cost for adult autism care in the US is expected to be around $345 billion by 2025. With these adults encountering the services cliff, the strain on families can be profound, while many of these adults continue to live at home for support. InFlight was created to help autistic adults live more independently with the remote support of their caregivers. InFlight is both a mobile app and a web-based admin portal, which helps with daily living skills while allowing remote caregivers to make updates to schedules and check the progress of their day. The current product has several features, although the key features are the visual schedule and the grocery list. Both are fully accessible through the user mobile app and the parent web-based portal. What makes InFlight different than just a basic scheduling app is the parent portal. Parents like me are looking for a better solution than paper lists and texting reminders. We want to be able to have full visibility into daily activities, whether from the home or on the go. The portal gives us the ability to check in on completed tasks, update the daily schedules, and get to see photos of completed tasks uploaded by the adult user in their home. For example, see what they ate for dinner or how clean does their bedroom look. A fully editable grocery list is right there on the dashboard as well. No more texting, no more Google Docs. The remote sharing between the child mobile app and dashboard is real-time and easy to use. Our vision is to be the independent living home, to bring peace of mind to the parent and confidence to the autistic adult child. InFlight's primary target market is families of autistic adult children. However, we've built it to support programs such as group homes or post-secondary programs. Our focused market size is on the 5.5 million autistic adults in the US. However, there is potential for helping seniors as those needs often overlap with the disabilities community. The two main potential competitors that we found are positioned in the K-12 space and focus solely on a visual schedule. What InFlight does differently is that we are meeting the needs of the parents who desperately need tools to help them continue to support their adult children while giving them the peace of mind that they can feel comfortable letting them go out on their own. This isn't a child solution that can be used for adults. InFlight is made for the many needs of autistic adults who need extra support. I'm excited about the potential for what InFlight can deliver in the future. We're starting user acceptance testing this month as we continue to build the next wave of features. The next key feature will be a virtual cookbook of autistic-friendly recipes that integrates with both the daily calendar and the grocery list. Then the possibilities extend to smart home integrations, gamification, and more. These add-on features will support our business model of a monthly subscription model that will increase in recurring contract value as users choose to buy up to new feature levels. Our team includes a diverse group of technology and marketing experts. While I have over 12 years of SaaS business operations experience, my value to the team is my passion for breaking down barriers for my daughter as she transitions to adulthood. InFlight is currently looking to build an advisory board and expand the network of beta testers. We anticipate looking to raise funds in the near future to secure full-time staff to bring high-quality customer support and a technology team to build out the product roadmap to make independence possible. Thank you.
Great job. Right on point and right on time. I'm loving it so far, y'all. Good job bringing it up to the panelists. Take it away.
Hey, this is Chris. I'll start if that's okay. Go a little bit different way. Stacy, tell me what has been the feedback that you're seeing from parents who have been engaged with this and how that has helped to improve their relationship with their child.
Yeah, I mean, we are going into our official user acceptance testing this month, so I'll get some really candid feedback. I'm going to be testing it with the adult autistic users as well. I had originally positioned this to be more towards post-secondary programs and group homes. And then I started talking to my community, and the outcry of need and desperation for families to have something to help right now has really fueled me to shift and go directly to consumer. So I'm really getting most of my feature feedback from my community here and what their needs are.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. So I just a couple clarifications. So is the D2C model, is that what you think ultimately will be the direction of the company, or is it a step one of potentially partnering with, kind of the B2B, with essentially them providing that service to their client base? I'm thinking about, clinics, and I mean, obviously families have desperate need. And I agree with you, by the way, it's a massive unmet need that really needs to be solved. So just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's, I was really a bit hesitant to go B2C because of all the technical issues and frustrations of managing that market. So I'd originally created it, and it is created to be really to serve post-secondary institutions. There's 300 different programs throughout the country that are serving disability community and group homes. So it's formatted to have multiple admins associated with multiple residents or users. So that function is already built in there. However, I do still see the primary market being straight to consumers, straight to the families, straight to the pain points. And then I'll also be building out these relationships with programs as well, but it's really straight to the consumer.
Thank you.
Any other last comments before we move on to Hank Jan with Blink Lab? I'm going to be calling him up on stage right now.
Thank you,
All
Stacey.
right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Stacey. Wonderful job. Just turn that mic
Thanks,
and cam
Stacey.
off and you will disappear. CEO of Blink Lab is up next. Hank Jan, why don't you share your screen and take it away as soon as you're ready.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
And hear me? Okay. First of all, big thanks to Multiple for this unique opportunity to talk here about Blink Lab. My name is Henk-Jan Boele. I'm the PhD co-founder CEO of Blink Lab. So we all know that parents and clinicians struggle with the diagnosis of autism. Parents often suspect at a very early age that their child is different. And for them, the diagnostic process is often frustrating and it takes too long. For clinicians, diagnosing autism is difficult because there is no objective biomarker or medical test available. This causes a delay in diagnosis, and it often results in treatment starting too late. Neuroscientists have developed multiple neurobehavioral tests that could serve as a biomarker for autism. The problem, however, is that they cannot use these tests in a clinical setting because these tests are complex, they're unpleasant, and often expensive. Blink Lab is solving this problem. By using smartphone technology, we can now conduct these neurobehavioral tests. They are objective, independent from verbal reports, so you can do them easily in young children. Basically, what we are doing is using the smartphone as a reflex hammer to probe different brain regions. Blink Lab will help clinicians to diagnose autism, but also to monitor interventions. The parents and patients can do the test by themselves at home. The tests are actually fun to do. You watch an entertaining video for about 15 minutes while the app delivers the auditory and visual cues that we need, and the app also measures the facial responses. We have developed a beautiful app that is now available in the App Store. And in addition, we have developed a SaaS platform for researchers and clinicians. This platform is scalable for large population testing, and it allows experimental designs to be run globally. Blink Lab is a Princeton University startup founded less than a year ago. Sam Wong was my postdoc advisor. He is an influential neuroscientist, and he is the chair of our scientific board. Anton was a former biotechnology analyst with Citibank, and he successfully founded an IPO, 2 other biotechnology companies. I'm a neuroscientist and medical doctor. I have over 15 years of experience and many high-profile publications on these type of neurobehavioral tests. The whole Blink Lab team is much bigger and larger, so we have 16 enthusiastic team members at the moment. We have now launched Blink Lab for researchers. They use Blink Lab in clinical and translational studies. For them, it is A, much cheaper than conventional setups, and B, it allows for large-scale testing. We also have been approached by several large pharmaceutical companies that want to use Blink Lab for non-invasive objective monitoring of drug efficacy in clinical studies. We will launch Blink Lab for clinical use since there is an unmet medical need in autism diagnostics. Working with research institutions help us to co-develop the Blink Lab app and the portal. These researchers are often affiliated with medical centers, which is going to help us with the clinical acceptance and the adoption. With pharmaceutical companies, early next year with paid pilots, and then this will result in multi-year contracts. After the FDA approval, we will launch Blink Lab for clinical use, both for use in a hospital setting, but also for home use. And we will use telehealth care providers as channel partners. There's currently no other company that is combining fundamental neuroscience with smartphone technology for diagnostics in autism. In addition, Blink Lab can monitor interventions, and it is more scalable than our competitors. The traction is enormous. Over the last year, we have been approached by many research institutes and clinical educational centers, and this includes autism centers from all over the world, from the US, Kenya, Netherlands, Ecuador, Sweden, Morocco. We will be raising soon, and we aim for 3 million at a 12 million valuation. We will use these funds to onboard more research institutions and pharmaceutical companies. We will support and further develop our product, our app and the SaaS platform, and complete our FDA breakthrough designation, as well as the FDA 510(k) approval study. If you're interested in partnering with Blink Lab, please reach out to us. Thank you for listening.
Excellent job. Wonderful job. I'll mix it up a little bit, and maybe I'll have Cassidy go first. That way we'll each person will go first at least once.
Yeah, and I've been quite amazed looking at this. I think the need for this in schools, actually, particularly, would be huge. And so I'd love to see on your list of early folks you're thinking about working with large insurers to the degree you can, right? I think we had folks here from Kaiser. So I would start thinking about how you reach out to kind of insurance providers to get a boost on what you would need to be in the school system. I think this is absolutely needed. The one other thing that I'm going to add, I'm going to drop it in the chat for you and for all the other companies here, is when you're thinking about fundraising, there's a great network called Impact Capital Managers. So it's just a list of impact investors by theme, and you can search for early stage, you can search for impact theme. So I'll share that in the chat now, because I think you should all kind of check it out. You can find some of the folks you're looking for.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So maybe I'll go next. Hank, great presentation. Obviously, diagnosis for us is an absolute critical part of the value chain that needs to be fixed. Otherwise, we're not going to make progress here. I think one of the things I'd like to understand, so from a clinical perspective, having done this a few times, so the clinical validation of this to the point where you get the FDA approvals and, to Cassie's point, that you actually get payers to agree to reimburse. I mean, I think that whole value chain is critical. I mean, that. It is not an easy value chain. It tends to be incredibly expensive. The other piece of it that I would like to understand, I mean, I just wonder about the attention span of, children that are 24 months old or two, so I'd like to understand also when you start to think this actually becomes effective, at what age, and, are we missing one of the big important kind of diagnostic tools at a very early stage? So maybe just address those pieces.
Yeah, so attention span is indeed critical. So that's why we're testing it in very young children. So the content that we are providing is really, basically you can provide any content that's entertaining for them. So the platform is very flexible. So basically children, parents, they can pick the video, the movies that they like. Also, keep in mind that you can use it at home, so there's no time pressure, right? It's not that you go to a clinical doctor and everything has to happen in those 15 minutes. There's a lot of time. There's so much time that you're with your child, and you have your phone available and you can do these tests. So those two, I mean, and 15 minutes is for 18-month-old toddler is doable. We can also make it shorter, and then you can do it. Let's say you do it in 7 minutes, and then another 7 minutes later. So the time pressure is not so critical. And we're spending a lot of effort in making everything as convenient, as pleasant, as entertaining as possible. We're doing the test at schools. Then I'll stop. We are always asking, so would you take the test again? And so far, 100% of the kids would say yes, we will do it again. So that's also
great. Thank you.
You answered several of the questions I was going to ask you about the setting and and so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Also think this is really a great new asset to help us in this. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job, Hank-Jan. Go ahead and say goodbye with the mic off and the camera off. And folks, give him a round of applause. That was a wonderful pitch. And next up, we have Stuart Pasecco, joining CEO and co-founder of Attend. Stuart, go ahead and share your screen, get that presentation ready, and then start whenever you are ready, sir.
Appreciate the opportunity to meet with you guys. Get everything going here. Great. Well, I appreciate the sorry about that, guys. Can you see my screen okay? Sorry, Phil.
We can see the oh, maybe it's coming up now. We can see it, but it's still in the notes version. So you might want to switch it to a different screen.
Well, there's got to be a technical issue. And I think
someone was going to do it. Someone was
Yes.
going to do it. It's okay that you were the first one. No pressure. No worries. I'm going to pull it up on my side as well, just in case.
Okay.
while we're waiting, Stuart, it's good to see you again. We talked some time ago, but it's good to see you here again.
It's good to see you too. Are you guys seeing is it appearing any better now or no?
It's showing we can see the presentation. It's showing in notes view, not in presenter view.
Okay. Wow.
So you might want to switch it to presentation.
Well, it's on presentation. It is on presentation mode. Okay. It is on presentation of mine. Let's try this. Okay.
All right.
You guys, you can see it now, right?
Yes, we can. Good to go.
I'll tell you, I knew when I got my Wordle in 5 today, it wasn't going to be a great day to present, right? For anyone who doesn't know. So, my name is Stuart Pasecco. I started my career at the University of Houston, and I ended up leaving the University of Houston in 2007 to launch an ed tech company that focused on improving behavior. That company was acquired by Pearson's Clinical Assessment Division in 2012. Ultimately, I left Pearson in 2018 because I always wanted to build on the success that we had in education and create a solution for parents. So after spending time with various stakeholder groups, I decided to focus on parent training and autism. So why parent training? Well, the research is clear. Evidence-based parent training programs work by improving behavior, promoting better skill development, and ultimately saving organizations money. And the truth is, as some of the other presenters have mentioned, finding caregivers is very difficult. We'll never have enough providers to meet the demand. So why not do a better job of equipping parents to help them help their kids? Why autism? Well, unfortunately, there's a pervasive problem within the ABA community and underutilization of parent training. The research indicates that only about 1 out of 4 parents receive parent training, and only about 50% of the hours that are authorized by payers end up getting delivered. Attend's designed to solve this problem and consists of 3 components. The first is a mobile solution that includes evidence-based learning content, in-app coaching reminders and support, as well as quick and easy data collection tools. The second is a clinician portal that's used to gain a better understanding and insight into parent engagement. And finally, an analytics platform used by supervisors to manage and oversee their implementations. Now, when it comes to parent training, the use of evidence-based learning content is critical. The learning content in Attend is based on the Ruby Parent Training Program, which was created by some of the country's leading autism researchers and has been rigorously studied in 3 large-scale randomized clinical trials and designated as a program that works by Oxford University Press. Ultimately, the value that we bring our providers is a combination of evidence-based learning content paired with technology. The results, a platform that simplifies the implementation process, provides enhanced visibility into engagement, help fulfill caregiver requirements set by payers, and has a positive net ROI for practices. Now, before using the Attend, the clinicians in this study were only providing about 30 minutes of support a month, which really isn't anything more than just periodic check-ins. With Attend, there's a 260% increase in parent support. Now, the truth is, it's not just a matter of spending time with parents, it's helping parents learn how to problem solve on their own. And aside from the benefits clinically, that increase translates into a positive ROI of $152.50 per month per client. The feedback that we receive from parents is pretty consistent. They find the content fun, easy to understand, very practical, and the next most popular feature are the in-app coaching support messages and reminders. In terms of our accomplishments and some of our highlights over the last couple of years, we completed most of our core development and secured several early adoptions in 2020. In 2021, we continued to build our provider customer base and initiated conversations with MCOs that focused on Medicaid. 2022 has been a year of acceleration for us. After a competitive review process, we closed a deal with Anthem and were included as a benefit for their Texas RFP Medicaid response. We also closed a significant deal with Blue Sprig, one of the country's largest ABA providers. And we're also proud to announce that after another competitive review, Attend has been selected by Central Reach, the leading autism software provider, as their parent training partner. We really look forward to participating in this into this event with the ability to connect with mission-aligned organizations, but we're also interested in connecting with investors who are interested in our space as we're preparing to start our next fundraising activity. So if you guys are interested, we'd love to connect with you. Thanks.
Great job. Wonderful job. Applauses and panelists.
So I To my earlier comment, I love your early traction with channel partners. I think that's great. I would love to understand more. What's the next, horizon, right? Who's buying? How are you thinking about scaling? Who are you targeting?
Well, it's really kind of a combination of focusing on provider networks, in particular ABA groups, and then Medicaid-focused MCOs. So we're currently working with Anthem in Texas, and we're also in discussions with several of their other state health plans, as well as we're talking with the Medicaid offices across the country and additional MCO organizations. About a third of all kids with autism are enrolled in one of the top 5 Medicaid MCOs. So that's really what we're targeting, Cassidy.
That's great. Are you specifically having those conversations? Are you the sales and the product and all of that?
Yep, me and my dog. So my dog's pretty fit. So
yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. I think it's a great direction. Just starting directly with, Medicaid and the other kind of partners. You may need help when you get the right funding.
Oh, we will definitely need help. Yeah. Right.
That's great.
Yeah. Thank you, Cassidy.
Yeah, I guess my comment would be that, first of all, I completely agree. This is a massive unmet need. I think care providers are figuring it out, starting to figure it out, and starting to actually think about things in a value-based system as opposed to just hours of treatment. And so I think you're definitely heading in the right direction. I would encourage you to start looking at providers that are thinking in the value-based system way, because this is easily something that they could outsource. It's hard to develop the kind of stuff that you've developed. So I'd encourage you, companies like Cortica and others that are value-based providers, and there are many others. So I think that, that's really what you need to be thinking about, because I look at you as more of a connection to a whole system of care. And so I would think about it, a combination of, direct to the parents, but also, how you can be part of the solution in the provider networks.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I agree.
And in full disclosure, Stuart and I did talk about his project a year ago, and at that time the conversation remains the same. Stuart, I encourage you to continue to collaborate with our across the country, because that they have the direct grassroots conversations with the parents that would be able to help you with this as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Wonderful job. Go ahead and leave the stage. I'm going to be calling up Gilad Piker next, co-founder and CEO of Poppins. And we found another innovation that Stuart mentioned. If he can help us learn how to teach our dogs to be sales representatives, I think we would be off to the races. So, all right, Gilad, you're up next. Looking forward to seeing what you have to say about Poppins.
Hi, 1 second, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, do you see my first slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So, hi everybody, I'm Gilad. Service specially tailored for special kids, or in short, Netflix for kids with autism. And you probably feel like asking, why do autistic children need a special streaming service anyway? And I have answers for that, but before I'll tell you a little bit about myself and about Poppins. So in my professional life, I'm a creator and producer of animated TV shows, a content and video person, and a manager in the global media industry. But in my personal life, I have an autistic nephew. Now, these two worlds merged 2 years ago when I noticed that my nephew has a pattern. Anytime he sees the rolling credit at the end of a TV show, he would stand in front of the screen, fully absorbed as if it was the most fascinating film he'd ever seen. So for his 16th birthday, I made him a compilation of all the rolling credits from all his favorite shows, only switching some of the texts from the credits with happy birthday messages and messages from his family. And he was blown away. The best present for a 16-year-old autistic teenager was a half an hour of end credits. A day after that, Elon, who never spoke to me or acknowledged my existence, sent me the first text message ever from his mom's phone. And it was so strange that in such a simple way, I was able to create communication that I had to dig deeper into it. So we started talking with therapists and researchers and families and individuals with autism. And again, we came across a pattern that was quite amazing, because we found out that the video diet of children with autism tends to be different and very distinct. On the one hand, each child has its own way. And on the other hand, patterns definitely emerge. One loves to see only shows for toddlers, even though he's a teenager. Other watches only animation. Many prefer low resolution images like VHS style, and many other love movie titles, elevator rides or train, etc. But since they are repetitively watch the same videos over and over, they are missing on many learning opportunities. So this is where the idea was born. It was a special video solution for special children, both relevant content and user experience. So with the team I know and appreciate, we raised pre-seed money and we set out to build our first product, which was a video accessibility tool for websites. And here's an example of our accessibility tool at the Israeli PBS channel, the educational TV. And we're changing video in real time and addressing sensory and color preferences, attention and focus assistance, and empower the viewers to choose how to wrap the content in a way that works best for them. So we try to offer these products to broadcasters, but their incentive was quite low because it's not mandatory and the sales cycle was way too long. So now we decided to build Poppins. Filters to Netflix compete. So we're cherry picking from around the world hundreds of hours of content from shows that are enriching, entertaining, accessible and trigger-free, fun and educating content for sensitive children, along with original shows and formats like softly whispered classic books or teaching daily life skills from hygiene or to how to use the public transportation or teaching about the mystery of feelings. And on top of everything, Poppins delivers actionable insights for parents and caregivers so they can learn from the data we collect and take it to the real world. In pilots with autism experts, we discovered that the concept works, increasing attention, exploration, and even communication. And now we are raising $2 million that will be enough to set up the platform, complete team recruitment, 12 in total, purchase customized content, produce original shows, and marketing until reaching break even. The service is initially intended for the American market in English with a subscription fee of $9 per month. And the model allows us to turn to profit with 33,000 subscribers, which reflects less than 2% of this market in the US. In the US, there are hundreds of streaming services, niches like horror, musicals, anime, and even dog TV. Each of them serves a niche. So back to the question, why is a special streaming service for autism is needed? For the same reason that there are plus-size clothing stores and stores for lefties, simply because there's a need. You are welcome to scan the QR code and try it yourself. Thank you.
Wonderful job. Good job, Gilad. Thank you so much. And up to panelists.
Great. No, thanks, Gilad. My first question is, so what percentage of your content is created versus just filtered through? So I know you started down the path of trying to create original content, but where are you sitting in that framework now?
We actually started with a simple original content, but currently in our Netflix-like platform, it will be about 80% of the content will be licensed content, which is curated by professionals in education and media. And we will start developing the original shows as we go along, our audience better understand their habits and preferences.
Great, good. And then I guess the second piece is, so do you view expansion potential in other areas like ADHD or other things outside of
Definitely.
autism? Okay, can you talk about that?
Definitely ADHD and even color blindness, because for example, football and color blindness is an issue. Our main idea is to have this accessibility feature everywhere, not only on our platform, but have it as an SDK so other podcasters would be able to develop with our technology and make all the content accessible for everyone who chooses to have it, the same as web accessibility.
Got it.
Web accessibility for people.
Gilad, this is Chris. How are you developing the content and how do you see the library expanding with this?
Well, we were able to figure out and find a lot of subgroups who are interested in many genres of content, which is esoteric, and we are learning about the habits and preferences of the content, which is interesting for people with autism. I'm not talking about what we call high functioning. I'm talking about children who are repetitive and in many ways are attracted to the visual and not to the story. So we're seeing a lot of repetitivity, and we have an algorithm which we developed that helps us understand the patterns. For example, someone who's enjoying end credits and the elevator rides and the Disney opener with the fireworks is actually interested in vertical motion. And if that's your motivation, we will find a way to create a content that will help you watch it and have a message in it for you. It's an uncharted land. I agree. Yeah. So.
Yeah. How are you getting a hold of the licensing for content that you're curating? Like, if it's on YouTube, right? How do you find the right license?
First, we are media people. Some of us. We also have autism professionals and technology professionals, but we are media professionals. Myself and two of my partners. And we are familiar with all the distributors. We've been discussing this with many of the distributors already. Buying content for the US market is about $400 per half hour of content for the US. We're also getting a lot of, I forgot the word, grace periods, because we are in a new and uncharted field. So the economics for that is the simplest way. It's pay and take it. That's it.
I think I have a connection for you. One of my education companies, Bow Clips, is sort of the licensing group for education, video, rich media. And so I think either to give you additional access or to have you guys license through them into US schools, I think either would be interesting. So I want to set you up. I think there could be something there.
Would love to do that.
Wonderful. That is some great value. Thank you for providing that feedback and offers, Cassidy. Thank you so much. And thanks again to the other panelists as well for your awesome questions and feedback. Gilad, great job. Round of applause for Gilad, everyone. As I call up the next speakers today is going to be a duo. We have Sean and Amy Schroeder, co-founders of Happy Ladders. So I'm going to be inviting them up to stage right now. I'm assuming that they are on one screen since I only see Sean. So let's see if that is true as they come up on stage. And yeah, there you are. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here today. Looking forward to seeing you all present. Go ahead and share your screen, get that presentation up, and then you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Whoops. Come on. Wait 1 second here.
We currently see market size US, just so you're aware of the presentation.
Yeah, that is.
We're just trying to get it to the first slide here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it out of. Here we go. Oh, geez.
No worries. It's not every day that you can dwell on the prospective market size. So
everyone.
So engaging.
There we go. Now we really intense. Now we know all the numbers. Okay, take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. I'm Amy with Happy Ladders, and I am a 20+ year autism educator, and specifically in the in-home ABA services field. And early in my career, I noticed two major themes that kept coming up. One was that staffing programs was consistently problematic, and two, parents were often left on the sidelines. And so in 2007, I started to do something a little bit different. I created a what we called then a tutorless in-home program. We now call it parent-led. And instead of training tutors, we supported parents so that they could teach their kids through play and through home-based routines. So fast forward 15 years later, unfortunately, many of the issues that existed that prompted me to start a parent-led program still exist. And we feel that more than ever, parents need more parent-led options. We also know that an autism diagnosis and the many therapies that come with it are a very specific personal journey for families. Every family season when they choose or are forced to work more independently. So in June 2021, with Sean, who has a wealth of knowledge in product marketing and product development, started Happy Ladders. And did that with the goal to bring parent-led to a larger audience and to make autism therapy more accessible while having the capability to scale easily. So Happy Ladders is a parent-led autism therapy platform, and it is designed to empower parents to work with their children on their own starting day one. How it works is pretty simple. Parents sign up for the program, complete the assessment, they do the activities with their child, and they can access support through the community coaching, all while their child climbs ladders.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm I already had a game our size. We'll know our Happy Ladders is part of an autism market that is expected to grow 20% over the 3 to 5 years. Focus on the best market because that's where we're primarily focused in the short term. Our revenue model is subscription-based and revolves around parents and payers, including health providers, or health insurance providers, self-funded health plans, employee-assisted plans, and of course, public entities. Our 3-year projection has us selling directly to families in year 1 and scaling up to sell directly to organizations in year 2, which is why you see the big jump in revenue there. A couple of key milestones to note here is reaching $1.2 million in recurring revenue in month 15, to profitability in month 21. While we're currently at the MVP stage, we do have a much bigger for Happy Ladders that includes building a dedicated app with a discrete data collection layer, adding in machine learning, and eventually a highly personalized AI-driven therapy plan. To date, we've personally invested most of our resources into technology and marketing, and we're currently at the end of building out a sales and marketing funnel to yield a 2x on ad spend. That process allowed us to grow our members to 2,000 subscribers and garner full sales at multiple price anywhere from $1 a month up to purchase $1,500. We're also getting pilots with Autism Tennessee, which Rob is very familiar with, and the Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center. We are here today because we're financing a pre-seed round of $750,000 to help handful milestone, including that mobile app, acquiring 300 subscribers, and reaching that goal of $1.2 million in annual recurring revenue. So thank you.
Great job. Panelists, you're up.
Yeah, great. Thank you for this. I guess maybe you can explain a little bit. So is the goal ultimately for parents to be supplementing an existing program, or in some cases, are you actually looking for parents that want to replace existing therapeutic treatment systems?
I would say both. So
Okay.
We have clients that have used as their only intervention tool, and also have to use it to supplement. I had a client yesterday whose tutor RBT canceled, and rather than have someone new come and fill in for that RBT, she said, well, I'm just going to work on some of my Happy Ladders lessons with them in the afternoon. And so that's a pretty easy way for parents to use it as well.
Okay, great. And when you talk about institutions, I know you talked about a couple that, so is your thought regarding kind of the B2B model to actually partner with existing providers, and then you would then supplement or provide kind of these tools to parents as a supplement in a partnership, or are you looking yourself as more of a competitor to existing treatment systems?
I think we look at ourselves more as an enhancement. So we're not looking to compete directly with kind of the conventional, in-home or center-based services, more as, it's a great early start option for families. It's a great option for families who just want to take a break, or who are kind of on the tail end of their, in-home or center-based services, and they're looking to kind of take over a little bit more on their own.
I really appreciate this, and I noticed that you have a collaboration there with Autism Tennessee, and I think that's great. And my encouragement for you would be to reach the affiliates in the Autism Society to see if they can introduce this to some of the parents that you just spoke about, where their children are at the tail end of some of the services, and/or they needed something to augment it when there's cancellations, so like we experienced during COVID, for sure. So keep that going, please.
we would love that. Thank you.
And you mentioned some of the use cases there, like covering for cancellations. But if you're, it seems like you guys do a lot. So just, what's the number one thing that a parent would be most excited about for the platform?
Oh, what's one thing? Today's example is one example. Through COVID, I followed a lot of families who were early in their autism journey. They were seeing signs of an autism diagnosis, and they sat on waiting lists for months. And luckily, some of that is starting to speed up a bit, but I think in states it's still really, really bad. And I think about the families who are just sitting and waiting for the professionals to call so that they can start, some sort of intervention. And I really would love to get to more of those families and help those moms and dads do something and be working on their kids' skill development, and be making some gains with their kids so that they've got some good momentum and traction going into programming. But also then we're kind of helping create the perfect customer, right, for these providers by training and giving these parents some skills going in.
I think that's great. I think that's narrowing in on your wedge, right? Both for parents and for, like you mentioned, for providers. That's great. You're creating an educated consumer.
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful job. I tell you, I don't often see tag team pitching go well, but you all did a really wonderful job with that. So good job, both of you. Thank you very much. Go ahead and drop off stage, folks. Give a round of applause to that team. I already have Adam White here, CEO and co-founder of TrueFit, up on stage. And I'm just going to say, I mentioned in the chat, we are well past the home stretch, folks. We have just a few more incredible founders. So thanks so much for sticking with us. Continue to be laying on that positive encouragement, thoughtful feedback. We're going to have some opportunities to network with these founders at the end of the event as well. So stick around. Adam, I see your presentation is up. Okay. And if you want to just click the hide button, just so that that's not there during the presentation. It says stop sharing or hide, and then you'll be good to go.
There we go. Everything look good? Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, great. So hi, my name is Adam White. I'm the CEO and co-founder of TrueFit. We're a fitness company working to solve the health and wellness inequities of people with disabilities. Because of these health inequities, there they go. The disability population has one of the highest percentages of lifestyle-related health problems, some of these being a 35% obesity rate and increased chances to develop diabetes and cardiovascular disease in their adult lives. So our solution is a mobile app, which serves as the cornerstone to building an adaptive fitness community. The app is customizable based on the user's unique characteristics, gamified, and includes a social network that creates a community to support that athlete to keep them engaged, motivated, and improving their fitness. The market is quite sizable. These numbers here reflect a global market, and the serviceable obtainable market is about what we anticipate is 4 million subscriptions within 5 to 7 years. So our US market, there are 48 million people in the US with at least one disability, including 26 million families that spend an average of $19,000 annually on medical related expenses. That's about 5.5 times what a family without someone with a disability will spend. There's 42 million people with disabilities that have some form of health insurance, and roughly 26 million of them are on Medicaid, Medicare, or both. Our revenue channels and community go hand in hand, both supporting the adaptive athlete in different ways. The primary revenue channel that we are focusing on is becoming a value-added service within the health insurance companies as a wellness program. We're also piloting the program in a couple select schools to determine the potential applications as an adaptive PE option. And we're partnering with nonprofit organizations to provide them with effective fitness-focused day programming options. All of these, again, working together to support our adaptive athletes. Our market strategy is the initial focus is to focus on the autism and IDD community, and then expand to physical disabilities. Our B2B sales to health insurance companies and schools will help drive sales, and our gamified incentive program will drive the adaptive athletes' engagement. Additionally, to establish a brand image known for social responsibility, we're working on becoming a certified B Corp. Here's a snapshot of some of our competitors. And as you can see, we offer a more inclusive and adaptable program. So the previous 9 months, we've managed to attract some media attention, as well as piloting and starting partnerships with some nonprofit organizations. In May, we launched the app on both Apple and Google Play Store. And it's not on this slide, but last week we just received our first offer for a vendor contract from one of the largest health insurance companies in the country. Our team is myself as CEO. John White, also my brother, is in charge of all of the adaptive program and content development. Stephen Ritter just joined us as our Director of Business Development. Fahad Hussein is our Chief Technology Officer. Dr. Mark Epstein is a former CEO of a health insurance company and serving as an advisor and investor and helping us drive that strategic development with health insurance companies. Mark Fisher just joined us as an advisor and investor, and he is helping us with operations and strategic development. We're currently raising $1 million on a safe note with a 20% discount and a $10 million valuation cap. That this million will help us secure those health insurance contracts that will get us to 50,000 subscribers. And additionally, it will help us develop the technology and the content to improve the user experience, as well as comply with HIPAA and cybersecurity requirements for health insurance companies. So we have a unique opportunity to consolidate a fragmented market. There's a large fitness industry, but the disability population has been overlooked. Our goal is to partner or be acquired by a company wanting to positively impact the disability community while expanding their brand presence into the market. And thank you. That's it.
Excellent job. Panelists, you are up.
Well, I guess, okay, we'll keep the order, I guess. So I think, Adam, first of all, I commend you on your business model. I think it's absolutely very critical to the community. I think it's has definitely an unmet need that I think is not, I wouldn't say it has been ignored, but has not really been a focus, for a lot of providers. So I think, I think you're heading down the right way. I am curious specifically with regards to your discussions with reimbursers or insurers. What has been the stumbling block, if any, and what do you think you need to do to be able to get a product like this reimbursed?
So really, it's when it comes to the health insurance companies, the response that we've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive. We're currently talking to 5 different companies. One of the first ones here in New Mexico, Western Skies, just placed that offer last week as a vendor contract. And they didn't even beat us up over the price. It's $9.99 a month is the monthly subscription per month per user. And they were pretty happy with that, which made me wondering maybe I should have priced it a little higher. But no, it's so far it's really just right now we're working out the ICD-10 codes for qualification to run this pilot with them. And so far the sort of the hurdles to entry into the health insurance market have been relatively small.
I'll just Adam, I think it's really exciting. This even on our organization, one of our board members has a private fitness program dedicated towards autistic and the IDD communities. So it's a nice complement to having that in gym type of or in studio type of setting to then take that and bring it home and work or remotely. Help me to understand a little bit about some of the development that it looks like John is involved in, perhaps, but I'm getting an impression you have some physical activity involvement as well. So tell me, how are you guys developing the content? Because not every child, not every adult will be able to do all of types of activities. So how do they decide what works for them?
So the app is designed when you set up your profile. You say maybe you're in a wheelchair, so you select seated adaptive. And then the filtering system in the app removes any exercises that would not apply to you based on your unique characteristics. So the idea from an individual side, just using the app, is to provide them exercises and activities that they can do and be successful with from day one. Every exercise comes with a way to regress it by 5 degrees or progress it by 5 degrees of difficulty as well. And then we use different methodologies of engagement to teach the users how to do the exercise, both through video, audio, and written instruction.
That's great. So they're going to be able to get some feedback. Exactly.
Yeah. And the way it works is they can connect to coaches. So for one instance, like we have a user in Southern California who has autism. His neurologist is a coach. His OT is a coach. His parents are coaches. They're all now connected to him as an athlete. So they can sort of assign workouts. The OT, particularly what she does is she'll work with him once a week for an hour a week, and then she'll assign different workouts throughout the week that will complement the therapy that he's getting. So that's sort of how that's supposed to work. Same situation in a school. We can set up a private group within a school where the teachers and the parents are now connected to the students, and they're able to support those students in an adaptive PE program.
So I think you have this unique opportunity here where, a lot of the times we're trying to work with a population that's overlooked. I think you actually have some virality that you can create here. So media brands are really excited about this. Sports brands like Nike does a lot of work with this.
Right.
A couple of my companies work with Nike with complex media. They're really interested in this kind of stuff. And so I actually think if you think about your landscape of media brands, sports and fashion brands and influencers,
Right.
they're people who can kind of take this up a notch. And very often they will quote unquote sponsor something. They're not really sponsoring it. They're just tagging their name to it, but it makes them look good. It makes you look good. So I think about creating those reach outs because they're looking for stuff like this.
Great. I'd love to talk to you some more about that if you have some time, because that's, as you saw, Nike was on our acquisition slide. That's always been sort of one of those companies that I've wanted to approach and see if they were interested in working with us on. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Right. And Adam, I would encourage you to reach out to me for contact over at Nike as well. So please.
Absolutely. I will. Thanks.
Even better. Yeah. I can't connect you directly to Nike. That's great.
Great. Thank you.
There you go. Asking you shall receive. Great job, Adam. Thanks again. Wonderful job. Everyone give him a round of applause. I've just invited Sarah Glofcheski up here, the CEO and founder of Beame, and she gave me a little bit of coaching on saying her last name. So did I get it right, Sarah?
You did.
Okay, wonderful. Awesome. Well, why don't you share your screen and you can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Bear with me one moment. I had a little problem with sharing the app. There we go. I hope you can see my slides now. Are we good?
We can see them. Yes, you're good to go.
Okay.
If you want to just click the little hide button so it gets rid of that you are sharing notification, we should be good to go.
Done.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so Beame is focused on bridging the gap between the current standard of care provided to autistic individuals and a truly individualized needs-based approach to holistic well-being on a massive scale. It is an objective, data, and clinically based approach which combines consideration of medical, environmental, and behavioral factors at play. Beame came about from the realization that there is no effective tool out there today that lets families pursue this approach independently and successfully with full visibility of their child's progress with their care team. Beame is built on lived experience and with the input of over 250 families and many experts and advisors. We are a neurodiverse team and advisory board ourselves, and many of our families include autistic loved ones. I personally am parent to 11-year-old Flynn, and Beame is productizing an approach I began to take with my own daughter over 7 years ago. By background, I have a Bachelor of Science in Biology and Human Genetics and an MBA from ESMT in Berlin. Prior to Beame, I served as Chief Strategy Officer of a 50 million per year clinical trial management software and services company. This is our passionate team. All of our family success members are parents to autistic children. Our advisory board comprises 3 sales and marketing experts, a neuroscientist, platform and AI experts, a special needs educator and therapist, a clinical psychologist, a fellow of the Medical Academy of Pediatric Special Needs, clinical researchers, an accessibility design expert, and a VC who has invested in over 130 companies and is launching her 5th fund. Parents and caregivers to autistic children face many challenges for which we are incorporating aids in the platform and are noted here. There we go. Through rich data, we are empowered with information that allows us to make choices related to our children's care. Rather than aiming in the dark, we are making informed decisions about where to start and how to continue. It's like shining a spotlight on the areas to target for your child with your team. We also need a way of doing so that fits into the daily flow of life. Our health and well-being tracker and insight generating app is user-friendly and designed with different ways to log data with learnings from our user behavior. It incorporates data from passive collection through wearable devices and sensors, and we are connected to other databases from which we can generate analytics. This is a visualization of the platform as a whole. If this looks like a lot, it is because it is. However, these are all of the areas that we need to consider, and this is why Beame exists. The approach to care plans and protocols involves several elements. Key here is starting with eliciting co-occurring conditions that may be at play. Underlying health conditions can look very different in autistic children. This means they very often go undiagnosed. When we can bring this information forward to the care team and they can track against it, and they are armed with clinically supported data, diagnostics can be done and children can be appropriately treated. This can be life-changing. We currently provide the tracker, a tracker which can be used by the child themselves, a caregiver well-being module, a community knowledge center, and the ability to add unlimited members to the care team. Our core design tenets are hope, knowledge, and choice. We are able to deliver this through providing insights. We can produce 3 categories of insights now and are planning to deliver 2 additional types by early 2023. The platform can be relied upon in several channels. We are currently generating revenue in D2C, and in some geographies, BME is currently reimbursable for families. Our B2B practitioner version will be available by the end of September, and we have established initial customers. The platform is also being developed to be used for clinical research, and we have planning underway to support our first study in 2023. By 2024, we project our revenue to be evenly distributed among the D2C, B2B, and research channels. Our unit economics across all channels are strong and can be shared with interested parties. Right now, we are continuing to execute on our product roadmap and listening to what our users want. We are also hyper-focused on customer growth and sales and marketing, and executing on our plans on that front. Part of this includes a calendar of joint marketing events planned with our Knowledge Center partners. We have news to come on the acquisition of a well-established autism-focused product that is going to strongly support our sales and marketing strategy. Notably on the roadmap side, we have in the works a version of the product for both adolescent and adult users. Indeed, BME is a utility product, one to grow with an autistic individual over their lifetime as needed. We are happy to speak with any interested parties about our current bridge raise. 2 VCs have done diligence very recently and are willing to share this with other prospective investors. Our bridge money is focused on sales and marketing to ensure that we can support our milestones across our channels. Our plan is to open the seed round at the end of the year. We're happy to share a complete deck with anyone who's interested. I'd like to finish off by sharing a personal piece, a poem my daughter wrote using her letterboard, as I thought this group might appreciate it. My daughter and her development and her perseverance are at the core of my North Star, and is why I felt thoroughly compelled to found BME. So a vision. A rock can sit or fly, so can I. It is my vision. Thank you.
Wonderful job, Sarah. It was really great. And honestly, you went a little bit over 4 minutes, but I knew it was coming. So I wanted to let you get to the end with the poem. We'll let the panelists go ahead and give their feedback and questions.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, so no, really like the presentation, really believe in the messaging. In fact, really the AIF was sort of set up exactly in the same framework, which is, you have to really look at things from the biology, the environment, the therapy combination. If you ignore any one of those aspects, you're going to really shorten the amount of gains that you get in any one of those areas. I mean, it's, you're from a development perspective, I certainly would like to spend some time just to understand, I sort of have to see where you are. My general comment would just be like, just because we've actually been thinking about this for a couple of years, I would say focus on one particular area. It's hard for me to understand exactly what out of your areas of focus, how you're going to focus, whether you start with nutrition, whether you start with, helping parents or whatever, whether it's more of a personal development component. So, just maybe some thoughts about how you do that, because each of those pillars is quite expensive to develop. So just some thoughts maybe on that. Maybe you've already done that. It's just hard for me to tell from the presentation.
I'd be happy to go through a demo with you.
Great.
We've actually built content in all of the modules that I shared that were on the screen.
Great. Thank you.
I had similar early thoughts. Again, this is sort of the wedge comment, right? You do a lot, you're holistic, and I get that that's the vision, but thinking about when you're pitching to an audience, parents or your B2B audience, right? What is the absolute wedge? What is the number one problem you're solving through these kind of 4, pillars? I think you got to be careful that they don't get lost in the shuffle. So really honing in on like that number one use case that you start with, and then you broaden and talk about what else you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you for sharing Flynn's experience with this. That's really what this is all about, right? Real quickly, tell me what the tracker is. Are you using an app? Are you using an iPhone? What are you using for that tracker?
Sure, it's a web app. Most of our families primarily do their logging from their devices. We also have connected devices, so we have connections to 2 different wearables, an under-bed sleep mattress, and then we have a nutritional database and a weather database, a rich weather database that we draw information from.
Great.
Awesome job. Congratulations again, Sarah. Thank you so much. We're inviting Jamil Karim up next, founder and CEO of Hiki, to the stage to give the presentation. Absolutely, especially the poem. Thank you. All right, so just turn your camera and your mic off. You'll just drop off the stage. And hey, Jamil, go ahead and share your screen. And yeah, we'll be kicking off whenever you're ready.
Great. Can you see what I'm looking at?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. A few years ago, my cousin, who happens to be autistic, reached out to me and confided me that he was finding it really difficult to make friends. And ultimately, I think he was most terrified that he wouldn't be able to find a partner to have a family of his own one day. I walked away from the conversation assuming I was going to go home, Google some resources, and text him, and that would be the end of it. But I just wasn't able to find anything that I was comfortable sharing with him. And this triggered a year-long dissertation of getting a deeper understanding of the way the neurology of autism was intersecting with the health and wellness effects of loneliness. And what I learned was autistic adults between the ages of 18 and 33 are 15 times more likely to take their own life than their neurotypical counterparts. And 8 out of 10 autistic adults were feeling the exact same way that my cousin was. All of the academic and medical research on this phenomena are conclusive. The neurology of autism do not lead people to be predisposed to chronic depression. This is due to a fundamental lack of infrastructure and resources that we've committed to this community. So as scary as this public health crisis is, the silver lining is this is something that we can solve today. And that's why we decided to build Hiki. Hiki, meaning able in Hawaiian, is the first friendship and dating app specifically built for the autistic community. I think well-intentioned people often go about creating these types of platforms for underserved communities, and historically they remove those underlying communities from the process. When building Hiki, it was tremendously important that we did not do that. Our app was designed by an autistic woman, it was built by autistic engineers, and most importantly, it was built in collaboration with about 100 autistic adults. We would design screens, send it out to the community, they would share their feedback, and then we make changes. Everything from the size of the buttons that we had to get special permission from the Apple Store to use, to the colors that sit next to each other as a way of turning down sensory processing issues. Everything is specifically built for the neurodivergent mind. And to this day, 70% of the people who work at Hiki identify as autistic. We launched our MVP in July of 2019, and we've since built the single largest platform of autistic adults that have ever existed. There are almost 70,000 active users on Hiki. They spend an average of 24 minutes per day on the app. We have a $0 customer acquisition cost and a 6-month retention of over 30%. The vision for Hiki is much larger than simply a friendship and dating platform. Next quarter, we're launching our first AI-driven chatbot, which will empower people to communicate what they're experiencing internally in a way that's truly representative of what's happening. After that, ADHD, and after that, we're explaining to employment. Over the course of the next 5 years, we're projecting almost $150 million in gross revenue. We're currently raising a seed round of $2 million. There's about $500,000 left of capacity. Prior to this, we are a tech scars company and raised a round of $1.5 million about 2 years ago. My name is Jamil Karim. I'm the founder and CEO. Prior to building Hiki, I ran the real estate team at Bungalow. And in my past life, I was working in private equity and investment banking at JP Morgan and Blackstone. Very, very grateful to be here. And yeah, couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Great job. Thank
Great
you.
job, good. Yeah, and I think we're already in discussions, and we're gonna have some future discussions. So good to see that you're making progress. I guess make some basic questions. I know that we'll just for the audience anyway. From a technology perspective, do you maybe talk a little bit about some of your proprietary IP and how you view that, being able to leverage not just what you're doing now, and as you expand into other areas. With your commercial model the way it is, just curious how that eventually will create a commercial model that sort of viable from a product development perspective.
Yeah, so I want to make sure I'm answering your question. From an IP perspective, the only thing that we built that I think is particularly special is the AI-driven chatbot. Effectively, what that does is it pulls in all of the historical data on Hiki. So every single conversation, message, post that has ever happened on Hiki. And then we build a neural network, and we remove the entire keyboard off of your phone. We replace that keyboard with emotive-based categories that have to do with what you're experiencing internally. And they're also question-based categories. And it'll generate a fully organic sentence that's never been used before. The reason why ours is really special is because as opposed to like pulling in all the data from the internet and generating a sentence that a neurotypical person may write, we're pulling in all the data from Hiki. So the rhythmic and linguistic norms of how the neurodivergent population can communicate will be truly coming through in those organic sentences. But if I'm being really, really honest with you, the value of Hiki isn't in the underlying tech. Our tech is not particularly sophisticated. Anyone could build it if they took the time. The value of Hiki is in the community and the brand. We've created a space where autistic adults feel seen, they feel validated, they feel like their lived experience is worthy, and they're able to communicate with other people who have that shared experience. And I'm really mindful, I certainly do not speak on behalf of the community, but in my experience with working in the community, being on Hiki is the single most liberating experience in their lives because they're able to finally feel not othered. And that really is what makes us viable.
Great. Jamil, thank you very much for this. The opening the prevalence of suicide is very, very compelling. We know that autistic individuals, just by mere diagnosis, are 3 times more likely to die from suicide, and females are 9 times more likely. So very powerful. And what I thought about is not about your technology as you were talking, and you just spoke about this, but I think about a group that many of us are familiar with, Mentra. And I'm thinking about the commitment that we are making if we're going to be a part of Mentra, of how we're going to interact with each other, and the codes of behavior, if you will, or conduct, to collaborate and make sure that there's not ghosting, right? Where somebody, we set up some standards that make it safe, comfortable, and powerful for everybody to participate. I don't know if there's a direct connection to that, but that's where I started to think about, and it might be worth you talking with them about it as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We're huge fans of Mentra. We saw them pitch at the Kennedy Foundation's event not too long ago. So I'll definitely reach out to them and pick their brain and see if there's a way to collaborate.
So I was looking at I think, by the way, this is wonderful. This is truly unique and exciting. I was looking at your kind of 6-month retention rate at 33%, and I'm thinking about, you're comparing yourself to sort of a traditional dating app and saying we're stickier, right? And I think that's a path for you, but I think it's also, I think it's okay if people get matched on your platform and then they leave, as long as you figure out how to make sure that, you guys are monetizing that in some way. Like, I think 33% is not, you can't hang your hat on it yet. So you either have to kind of drive up your retention, or you figure out a path where it's totally okay when they leave the platform. And either one will work for you, but it's just, I think you've got to spend time testing and figuring out where you fit in that landscape, because I think just the introduction, right, just the matchmaking component is really critical and needed.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that feedback. It's definitely something to think about for context, which I think is really important when talking about like retention rates. If people have baselines, Tinder's 6-month retention is 4%.
Right.
Netflix's 6-month retention is probably like 55% right now. Facebook is probably around 38%. So we float right in like the traditional consumer social space of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which as far as like a foundation of a matchmaking platform is why we're so incredibly proud of that number. In our experience, we've built this organic ecosystem / flywheel where one part of the business feeds the other part of the business, and it acts as a really natural moat. So even when people come for dating and they find success, they're not leaving Hiki because they're deriving value from finding community or finding friends. And I think like the nature of that dynamic is really healthy and it makes us really special. So we're excited.
Yeah.
Great thoughts.
Thank you
Great
very
job
much.
with the retention rate and wonderful job. Thank you again. Round of applause, everyone. Really awesome. We have one last founder, Jim Spencer, here today, founder of Specially, to talk to you about his company. Hello, sir. Go ahead and share your screen, get your presentation up, and blow us away.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to do so. Okay, coming up now. Okay, everybody see that okay?
Yes, sir, we can.
All right, great. Hi, I'm Jim Spencer, a longtime information and technology entrepreneur. And like most of us here today, I'm the father of a child with special needs. My wife and I have built and grown and sold internet companies. And when we noticed some of the developmental challenges our son was having, we did what every other parent does. We went on the internet and tried to figure out what the hell was going on. What we discovered is the informational journey for special needs parents is absolutely broken. And we're not the only one. We're the 20% of the population that's receiving special education services. And 70% of us fear that our child is losing out because families and caregivers are not aware of what relevant information or services that are needed or available to them. The problem is that there's no credible, trusted digital marketplace meeting the informational demands of the special needs market today. Or, as Allison Singer, co-founder and president of Autism Science Foundation, wisely put it, it's primarily word of mouth and a lot of crappy Googling. That's why we're building Specially, the nation's most actionable informational service of trusted content, resources, and data, connecting special needs families, caregivers, and professionals with the organizations that serve us. Here's our product roadmap. Happy to take you through the specifics, but ultimately, when you think about Specially, think of it as a microcosm of the internet tailored for the special needs community, and we will continue to add additional services that match up with both our audience and our customers' needs. So where's the secret sauce? It comes from our Specially contributor network and software that allows us to scale a challenge that presents itself nationally when most services and information are exchanged locally. We will contract with a diverse group of licensed special needs professionals from across the country to create a remote contributor network for Specially. That's enabling our audience and contributors to interact through our services. These insights will provide better outcomes for families and will also create key insights that our customers will cherish. We're digitizing a word-of-mouth network effectively, efficiently, and profitably. So what's the business model? It's pretty simple. It's free to families. Revenue is generated from business through subscriptions, sponsorships, and transactions. My last startup, Newsy, sold at a 17.5 time revenue because it was the only profitable venture in our space. I know the importance of having a strong mix of B2B and B2C revenue streams and constantly revising and finding new ones to build a sustainable enterprise. Partnerships will be an important part. Businesses, healthcare, education, not-for-profits. I ran partnerships at AOL. I ran partnerships at Ask Jeeves as well as NBC. I know the importance of building, growing, and sustaining mutually beneficial partnerships. This is the team, the initial team that will build Specially, a group here of folks not only passionate and persistent in this area, but I've worked with over multiple companies, multiple years. There's a little bit of my background. You can see my last company, Newsy, sold as a 10 times exit to Scripps. I have a background in search, information, news, technology, that kind of stuff. Where we are now, we have curated and combined a number of data assets, medical, recreational, professional, educational. We have designed and are building the software for our Specially contributor network and portal, as well as our website and data insights. And we're having initial customer conversations because I think it's important to talk with customers before, during, and throughout every life cycle, every cycle of the business. Finally, we're doing a price to equity round. This will be a pre-seed round. It's $1 million minimum, and it will allow us to deliver the list of items that you see there on the right. But more importantly, there are two things to know about Specially. We will build this and we will build this properly. It will help families and caregivers like us find better information and difference and make a difference in your child's life. We will build Specially in a technologically advanced and economically viable and profitable way, as I have done before. But most importantly, generating substantial returns, though only with the support of investors like you. The early believers and investors who saw, it was the early investors that saw the greatest return. Now is the time for you to fill this much important and needed informational gap. Thanks to Dan and the team at Multiple for the opportunity to share, especially with everyone here today. Thank you for listening and participating. We look forward to working with you and solve a challenge that I know that you personally have experienced yourselves. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Powerful words. Panelists with questions and comments?
Yeah,
so
great.
I have to start by saying, as a later stage investor, seeing a marketplace with a founder who cares about profitability is delightful, rare. I absolutely stress that. I think that's great. Using these are hard to build and hard to scale, so using your funds well matters.
Right.
I think as investors tend to be broken records, I would push you to say, I'm a believer in the marketplace model, a believer in the cross, vertical offerings. Where are you starting, right? What are you really good at from day one? What do the customers absolutely care about from day one? Because all these marketplaces, Uber, Upwork, they tended to specialize at first, captured their audience, and then branched out. So just thinking about what you're really good at from day one is where I'd push you.
No, that's really, really great feedback. And I know I did intermix the word marketplace with, like informational service. It's truly informational service. We'll start at a very base level of core information and vertical search, some spaces that I have some experience. But it's a really good point, and I understand some of the dynamics of marketplace. Those are the types of things I think that we'll grow into. But thanks a lot for your feedback.
Yeah, and by the way, and just on Cassidy's point about profitability, and to all presenters, I do think that is one thing, even though at an early stage, you need to think about not, how you get to 10 million in sales, how do you get to 100, it's really how do you get to 100, eventually 500 and a billion, even if it's part of the storytelling. And I think some of those pieces maybe weren't quite there, and I think that needs to be developed. But I think, from your perspective, well, it doesn't mean that you can't tell the story. I just mean that a couple of the pieces need to be put together for us to understand a little bit better how you get there. And so, but my question ultimately is, so are you thinking, when you think about kind of the large competitors, ultimately, are you thinking about your revenue stream in the same way, or are you thinking about a different, potentially different, because of the uniqueness of what you do? I wonder if there is a different element to that.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I think that we'll look at some of those revenues streams in traditional ways. What I can say, which is some of the previous experience that I've had before, is the marketplace doesn't always play out the way that you expect it to. The last company I did, it was really cool to come up with the idea that people were going to watch a video on a device like this back when they looked like BlackBerries. But the reality is you couldn't run ads and video on these things for the first 2 years. And so I was like, wow, okay, I think we better come up with a different business model. And we did. We pivoted very quickly to B2B and push the company into profitability. But I think we're going to kind of start with some of those traditional things. But we're also going to look in a very, very thoughtful and passionate way. Some of the traditional streams right now seem to be kind of breaking the internet, if you will, and we think there's an opportunity to build something better.
Jim, Chris from the Autism Society, and I can't agree with you more how much families and the autistic community itself is looking for information. In fact, we run an information referral service line, and we have a proprietary database of things. So we should talk. You and I should talk. The 70 plus affiliates, many of them run their own regional INR programs to provide those supports and services. And I think there's an opportunity for collaboration as you bring this out to scale, where we have 687,000 people to talk to.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that. And I mean, that's one of the key words is collaborate. I'm the middle child from divorced parents in Kansas City, so I spent a lot of time in the middle. And you got to come up with stuff that's really mutually beneficial and works for everyone.
Yep.
And
Please
that
reach
is
out.
it. Great job, Jen Spencer.
Thanks, Jim.
Y'all, wonderful job. Round of applause. Panelists, if you want to stay up on stage just for a few moments, I just want to thank you all personally on behalf of Multiple and myself. You all did a wonderful job. The feedback, the questions, the offers. Thank you again. Y'all, let's give a round of applause to Cassidy, Rob, and Chris for the incredible job being here, going through the gauntlet, talking to all 10 of these companies. And again, wonderful job to all of the companies as well. Round of applause to all of you. Really wonderful job. Folks, these people applied. They went through an interview process. We met with them and they came out, did a wonderful job. So really, really wonderful job to all of these founders. A few last comments. We do have an accelerator coming up. And so if there are any founders out there who want to apply, please do. We'd love to talk to you about it. I've reached out to some of you already. The program will be running for 10 weeks, starting the first week of October. And please do stick around to network with these founders here today. We do have tables with the logos of each of the different companies. So if you want to go to those tables to talk to them, you just double click on whichever table you want and you can talk to the folks there at that table. Please do enjoy. We'll extend this for another 15 minutes or so you can spend some time networking. Dan, any last things you'd like to say?
Well, first, I'm blown away. I think I'd like to just thank our team, frankly. You know, the team that's put this together is it's basically 3.5 humans, okay? And we're really excited. I'm really excited about, you know, what the work that Phil and Amy and Kelly are doing, and our board who's here today. So it's really great for me to see the result of the work. The startups did an outstanding job. I really was impressed with all of you. And the panelists were really just great comments. I mean, really cogent from different perspectives. I really like that a lot. And I would just leave with a couple of thoughts. One is we need mentors. Okay, we need mentors and we need people to help screen companies that are coming through the door. We, you know, of the 52 that applied for this, we really should be supporting 40 or so. There's really good startups out there, and we're really committed to expanding our ability to touch more companies and touch them deeper. There's a lot of ideas that our team has, and so that's critical. And then, like, to be totally blunt, we're raising our own rounds, and so we really would love any support in this community. Reach out to Kelly, reach out to me, reach out to Phil, reach out to Amy. Or any board member, you know, we're open to dialogue of any type, and we're passionate. We've got a great team, and we've got a great community. I want to thank you all for showing up, for being here, staying for so long, and all the comments. So congratulations to all of you.
Yep. Thanks,
yes,
Dan.
and round of applause to Dan and the Multiple team, of course, and special thanks to all the judges. There was 40 plus judges in there providing feedback to all the startups. They're going to be getting that feedback after the event, and it is awesome. We've already gotten some amazing feedback from them. So thanks again, everyone. I'm going to drop us down to the crazy Remo stage. Hope you enjoy talking to everybody, and have a wonderful day and a great Labor Day weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks for the invitation.
Wonderful.